I'm Alex McCord, and this is The Real Deal on thestir.com. Today we are discussing episode 2 of season 6 of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, as I said last week, this is the first time I'm watching this franchise, and I'm trying to figure out what is it that makes it the most watched? What's going on in Atlanta that nobody else has? Now, I don't know if the things I saw this week contribute, but here's what I noticed. First, the men are in the doghouse, more so in Atlanta than anywhere else, particularly this episode, but I noticed on NeNe's wedding spinoff as well. Most of the men are portrayed at worst as horrible people, in the middle as lovable but bumbling fools, and at best, right where the girlfriends and wives want them, well behaved. Example 1, Peter Thomas, Cynthia's husband. Oh my gosh. He came across great on NeNe's wedding spinoff, so much so that I started to wonder why everybody hates him. Then Atlanta happened. Then last night happened. Oh my goodness. He couldn't have looked worse. He told Cynthia she looked fat when she's actually struggling with fibroids. He was completely insensitive when talking with the doctor about the fibroids, just wanting to know whether it would affect her sex drive. And that's not to mention all of the spending of money without consulting his wife. Both Peter and Porsha's ex, Cordell for that matter, are the husbands that the viewers are glad they don't have. Now, example 2, Apollo and Greg. Both these guys have their hearts in the right place, and I would go so far as to say that these guys are examples of the husbands most women do have at home. Yes, they both made really big mistakes, but they're trying to do the right thing most of the time, and they do so in a kind of bumbling and inept way, which the show exploits for comic relief. Whether it's Apollo, who's supposed to be hanging a mirror, but instead he's staring at himself in it, or Greg talking to the dog more than he talks to NeNe, they seem like they mean well. Their hearts are in the right place. They seem like normal guys. Example 3, Todd, Kandi's fiance. Wow, he cannot catch a break. Kandi's mother is after him with an emotional machete. Therefore, he looks like a dreamboat. He looks like the guy that everybody wishes they had. Speaking of mama drama, these ladies in Atlanta are willing to go for it. More so than any other city, in my opinion. They are not afraid of looking bad on camera. Or if they are, they don't show it. And that extends to family and friends as well. So whichever producer was watching the monitor when Kandi and her mother filmed that scene about Todd, they must have been high-fiving and doing an end zone dance. Mama went for it. First, she tells Kandi that her 10-year-old daughter doesn't like her fiancé. Kandi brushes that off, but she gets to take advantage of another reality show staple, the interview do-over. Those confessional interviews are usually filmed anywhere from a week to months after the events in question happened. And you can get to go back and kind of do it over. If you couldn't think of the right thing to say, or you didn't get a chance to say the right thing, or you think of something later, you can do a do-over. Whether the producers ask you to do it, or whether Kandi, as a seasoned housewife, went to them and said, hey, I have something else to say about that conversation with my mom. Can we cover that in my next interview? I've done that a few times, and sometimes that can really make the scene better. Sometimes it can be the difference between the scene making the show or being cut. Now, I don't think Kandi's scene was in danger of being cut because it was crazy. Next, Mama says that the ring is no good. And this is where Kandi doesn't need the interview to back her up. She cries and reminds Mama that she picked the ring. So then Mama's attack moves from Todd to Kandi saying, yeah, well, you have no taste in jewelry. Ouch! Mama knows she's beaten, and she wisely exits with one of the most memorable Housewives lines I've seen in a while. I know you want to choke me now, as she sachets out. Another high five in the control room, please. The next woman who is unashamedly going for it is Kenya Moore. Of course it is. I ask you, is this woman stupid or delusional, or does she really have no clue how she's coming across? Or does she just not care? I read right between the lines when she had lunch with NeNe. Kenya is a housewife, and she needs to be able to film with the other women. She's got to be able to get them to be willing to film with her. She cannot spend the entire season sneaking up on people like she did in the premiere at Cynthia's agency. NeNe says you've got to stop lying and get your living situation together. Being displaced from your home is a storyline grab, not a real problem, and certainly not an excuse for crazy behavior. So, ever the helpful housewife, NeNe suggests getting everyone together for a sit-down. Oh, let's do that, shall we? Now, was it me, or did the sit-down dinner look like a reunion special? Maybe it was because they were all arranged on couches and there was no table. Maybe it was because they kept flashing back to actual reunion footage, but I began to think that we needed Andy there as a referee. Kenya fell victim to another problem that happens both on real life, but especially on reality TV. What you say is not necessarily what people hear. Phaedra is angry because Kenya, as Phaedra put it, accused us of having AIDS. Wow. Kenya tries to backpedal and says that suggesting Phaedra have an AIDS test wasn't accusing her or her husband of having the disease. What? Kenya's splitting hairs. Okay, the exact words might have been a little different, but the intent was the same. Give it up. Ditto the texting of Apollo scandal. I don't know whether Kenya forgot that they have tape of her accusing Apollo of sexting her, or just decided that whatever is coming out of her mouth today is the real truth. But reality TV bit Kenya in the behind. If they can flash back to prove you're lying about something, they will. Throughout all this sit-down, the ladies were going for it 100%. But one of them did bother me, and can you guess who? Ding, 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 it's Porsha. First, she's bugging me anyway because of not moving out of mommy's house. I mean, what is she, 16 and breaking up with her high school boyfriend? Come on. Second, I felt like somebody behind the scenes might be telling Porsha to turn up the heat, to bring it or else. So she's radically changed her hair and she's piping up with non sequiturs. The Phaedra and Kenya drama doesn't really concern her, but she has to jump up and witness to the congregation that she doesn't have time for this because she's going through a divorce. Right, we get it. I wanted to tell her, sit down. We know you're trying to keep your job and you're allowed to do that. Please do, but please be a little bit more subtle about it next time. Finally, switching gears and cities for a moment. Those of you on Instagram might have seen an airplane selfie this week. So let me ask you, do you think that Vicki Gunvalson and Tamra Barney flew down to Hawaii to watch fellow castmate Heather Dubrow film an episode of Hawaii Five-0 for fun? Do we think that that was just a fun, spontaneous trip? Or do we think that the cameras are rolling in the OC once again? Dun, 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 dun. And no new housewives yet. Maybe they're taking my advice. Anyway, let me know what you thought in the comments. For now, I am Alex McCord. You are watching The Real Deal on thestir.com. See you next time.